Hey Cancer, welcome to your April 2017 Tarot Oracle with a little bit of astrology reading. My name's Mimi. I'm with Divination by Mimi. We will be doing an elemental spread using the Thoth deck or the Tahuti deck. And we will also be using the Cartouche for clarification. And if needed, we've got two types of runes for further clarification. So April, wow, retrograde, retrograde, retrograde. Lot to be looking at, okay? So let's start with what's currently in retrograde as of the 1st. Venus is still in retrograde. It will be in retrograde from April 1st, as it is now currently, through the 15th. At that point in time, right around in a conjunction there, it's going to be going into Pisces and making a conjunction with Chiron. Chiron is the wounded healer. Chiron is about those old hurts, those old ways of thinking. In fact, all of the retrogrades occurring at the moment are going to force all of us, regardless of your zodiac sign, to look at the past, at the things that we have learned way back, our formative years. Why do we tend to date the same kind of guy? Why have I been divorced 3 or 4 times and it's the same guy every time or gal every time? Why is it I seem to make the same mistakes every month when it comes to my checkbook? Things like that. Or why am I afraid to make money? Does it come from some old belief? So these retrogrades really are looking at that. The Venus retrograde, as it touches and becomes conjunct with Chiron in the sign of Pisces, ruled by Neptune. This is all about emotions, feelings, thoughts, and how they rule our relationships and our feelings. Okay, so whether you choose to take the time to look and use these energies to naturally look at those beliefs, or if you choose to ignore it, trust me, these things will come up to your attention whether you want them to or not. This is a karmic lesson that we all have to face. This is why astrology is important. Okay, so in addition to Venus being in retrograde, Mercury goes retrograde on the 9th of April and will remain in retrograde until May the 3rd, in fact. She goes, or he goes, well, it's a hermaphrodite, Mercury is. So basically, Mercury will be going retrograde on the 9th and will be, at that point in time, I believe, in the sign of Taurus? Yes. Mercury will be in the sign, or the constellation of Taurus on the 9th when he goes retrograde, or she goes retrograde. At a certain point during the retrograde process, it will go back to Aries. Mercury in Taurus is a little bit calmer energy, but Mercury in Aries is very fast. So there could be a, in communication, especially around the 15th. Was I saying that right? Yeah, right around the, around the 21st, on through the 3rd of May, there could be an instinct to use a very sharp tongue when talking. There might be knee-jerk reactions when you're communicating. Try to be careful, just like with Mercury retrograde, every time it comes. Things to watch for are how you communicate, being understanding and forgiving if communications seem off from others. With Mercury going back into Aries during the retrograde process through the from the 9th through the 3rd of May, bear in mind that there may be a likelihood that we would want to say something really nasty, just like without much thought, just like blah. You know, it's a tendency, actually. So be aware of that tendency in yourself and in others. Okay, so retrogrades are a time to reflect. For Mercury retrograde, for example, this is a great time to go back and have a look and finish projects that you have started. But it's not a great time to start new projects, and it's definitely not a great time to sign your name on the dotted line for anything that's going to affect you for the next 5 to 10 years. Divorce, marriage, home ownership, even car ownership. If you can avoid taking concrete definitive agreements and actions between the 9th of April and the 3rd of May, and maybe even the shadow period around it, if it's at all possible, I would take that extra time because, again, when communication, when the messenger of the gods is doing a retrograde, in a retrograde period, particularly between two constellations, it will have an impact on the way things are communicated, the way things are written out in the contract, and things like that. You're not getting a full picture. You're getting a tricked a trickery. There could be a very high possibility of trickery going on, or you refusing to see things. Okay, so just try to hold off on major changes if you can, if it's at all possible. Also, we have Saturn going retrograde. Saturn goes retrograde on the 6th, and we'll be doing so through the 25th of August, so for a very long time. And in this time, we'll be going retrograde and direct and retrograde and direct. And it will be very closely conjuncted with the galactic center. What this means is this is definitely looking at old beliefs, old ways of thinking, concrete institutions, things like governments, financial institutions, religious institutions are all up for question right now. Everything is up for reevaluation. Okay, so macrocosm, microcosm, as above, so below, as without, so within. So if it's happening in the rest of the world, which I guarantee you it will be, as it is happening to you too. So as the world, the collective, starts to reassess, hey, is this religion the best choice for me? You are doing this on an individual level too, okay? And the natural instinct, the natural wave to look back and to look at these things honestly is there. So just ride the wave, don't fight it, because again, with retrogrades, whether you choose to do it actively or not, it will show itself to you. You will be dealing with the retrograde one way or another. You might as well be doing it actively with your full faculties involved and invested. All right, so that's Saturn in retrograde, definitely about institutions, old thoughts, old beliefs, things that we thought were true and tried. And then the other planet that's going to, there's 4 planets in retrograde in April, so expect April to be very tense. You might feel very stressed, pressured, okay? Jupiter is also in retrograde, will remain so in the sign of Libra, but will be forming squares with Saturn, and Saturn will be forming squares with Chiron. So this, again, is you honestly looking back at what you've done, things you've said, allowing yourself to have been wrong and allowing yourself to have made a mistake. Because again, like with the other retrogrades, whether you do it consciously or someone brings it to your attention, it will come up. That's the nature of things. These things will come back up. So you may have said something, I don't know, 10 years ago that doesn't hold true any longer. You got to own up to the fact that you were wrong then, or that you've changed your mind, and that is okay to change your mind. Okay? All right, so I've kind of rambled along enough. 2 more astrological things of importance. We have a full moon on the, is it the 11th? Yes, full moon in Libra on the 11th. And then we have a new moon in Taurus on the 26th of April. And that should cover most of the astrological activity for April. So, Cancer, let's take a look at your tarot. Your ruling sign, or really ruling planet, is the moon. So you are very sensitive to all of these planetary changes anyway. You're also very intuitive, empathic, compassionate. So chances are you're not going to be particularly you're going to go, very likely you will go with the flow of these retrogrades. You naturally tend to look at things, reassess things, consider things, especially as it relates to emotions. So it's particularly when it comes to this retrograde of Venus taking the conjunction with Chiron as it makes a square to Saturn, this will fit you just fine because you tend to do this naturally, making the assessments of why do I feel the way that I do? Why am I dating the same kind of girl over and over again? Why am I dating the same kind of guy over and over again? Why do I overeat? Why do I spend my money not right? You know, why am I not good with my money? Things like that. Or, you know, on the other note, why am I afraid of commitment? Oops, here we got some. All right, so this will be spirit. This is an elemental spread, so this is Akasha. In the north here we have earth. Oh, that one came up too. In the south, on the east here for thoughts, we have strength in reverse. In the north, we have works in the upright. In spirit, we have satiety or satiety, which is the 10 of Cups upright. Okay, so this is north, which is earth, which is things manifested. This is your finances. This is your work. This is not your work so much, but your finances, your home, your stuff and your things, your health. This is your thoughts, your thought patterns. And then this is a spirit so far. This is what the direct message from God's source, from the divine source. Wow, that was too many parts. There's a lot that you want to. Spirit's definitely talking to you. That definitely speaks to Pisces and to Cancer. You are very connected. Fire. Ace of Cups. Boy, that's nice. Something new. That's wonderful. This is in fire. This would be your creativity, your career. So this is something new as it relates to relating with people. Yeah, okay, great. And then as it relates to things that are creative. And then let's go to the west, which is cups, and see what happens there. Yeah, that was definitely a message. Wheel of Fortune, upright. Okay. So Spirit is talking to you about the love of relationships. Spirit is reminding you that you're very blessed in relationships, that you have a lot of people that love you. This is a 10, which is the end of a cycle and the beginning of another cycle. So it's giving you a message as it relates to the relationships that you have. You're coming to the end of a lesson here. You have a 10 here, and you have a 10 in relationships. The 10, the Wheel of Fortune or Fortune is the 10th card in the Major Arcana, which is basically you're riding high as it relates to love, compassion, and relationships. You're in a good space right now. This is the completion of a cycle. You've learned something from love. You're reaping the benefits and the calm and the peace of the love that you've given and the love that you've received. And this is a karmic thing. This is something that you've earned through learning a lesson, through trials and tribulations. You've come to this point as it comes to relationships. You've been through the tough times. You're now on top. You've been through the rough relationships. You're now feeling what it's like to feel love and give love freely, without the former trappings that could occur with relationships. So Spirit is telling you that in terms of your compassion, your empathy, your intuitiveness, and your relationships, you're right on path, which is not surprising for Cancer. In the east here, well, I'll go up north here. In the north, which is Earth, we have the Three of Cups, which is work, basically. So this is the first manifestation that you're seeing of your work being invested. This could be finances. This could also be health. This could be some work that you've invested in improving your health. But this is kind of telling me more that it has to do with your finances and your wealth. So you've invested some time and some effort into building your wealth, your security, your home, and your finances, and you're seeing the very first results of the efforts that you've taken and the collaboration. This is things starting to form. There's a pyramid here, and what you're seeing, this is Mars in Capricorn, which is a good combination. It's the waters of Bina solidified. Bina solidified. That's Capricorn. Capricorn ruled by Saturn. Saturn in Bina. So this is very good, actually. You've set some good foundations, and you're starting to see the solidity, the stability that you can feel when you put effort into the things that bring you that kind of stability in the financial wealth world. You're building some wealth. You're building, you're putting down some foundations and some groundwork, and it's good. You're getting the first results of that, so that's wonderful. Over here in the east, we have the air element. You've received the Nine of Wands, which is strength, but you have it in reverse. So as it relates to possibly intellectual endeavors or your willingness to consider ideas, or it could be you releasing some old ideas that just haven't served you. which kind of goes again, you might have already been taking advantage of these retrogrades, which would be a tendency of Cancer to do, as fluid sign as you are. It sort of looks as though you are releasing some old concepts, old ideas that you kind of held fast to for a long time, but they've worn you down. You've given up on whatever this thought was. Perhaps it was something that related to the other parts of your life, because you've got very good cards here, here, and here. So this must have been old ways of thinking that you finally threw the towel in on and said, you know what, that doesn't serve me anymore. Keep that up. Keep that self-assessment up. That's important. So this is beautiful. You have a very good spread here. You're letting go of old limiting ideas that are zapping your strength, and you're letting them go. Now down here in creativity, you've got the Ace of Cups. That's wonderful. These are new relationship opportunities. So you could be getting ready to start a project. This is a beginning of a project, the root, the element of some kind of a project, creative project. This could be something involving relationships. You could be getting ready to partner with someone to create something. This could also just have to do with something intuitive. Perhaps you're getting ready to start a small business, or add a service to the business that you already have that involves things that have more to do with relating with other people. This could involve marketing. If you got more spiritual, this could involve things like, I don't know, maybe you have a tarot reading business, but you've decided to add on another divination method, something like that. But you're starting some creative project, and that's wonderful. And it looks like you're in a great place to do it, because you've built a stable foundation from which to make these changes. Very positive. And then over here in the West, you have the Wheel of Fortune upright, meaning you, in relationships, you are on top of that wheel right now. You have learned the lessons from previous relationships, and you're moving on from them, and you're experiencing the joy of having learned those lessons and what real love is now. I think I want to get some clarification on the Strength card, just to make sure I'm interpreting that correctly. So this is the cartouche based on Egyptian mythology or Kemetic mythology. What does Cancer need to know as it relates to the releasing of this thought pattern? The Nine of Wands in reverse. As it relates to thinking, thought patterns, ideas, concepts, what are we letting go of? Ah, you're letting go of old ideas of, okay, so you've got Crook and Flail in reverse. You are letting go of the old ideas and paradigms of authority. What does authority mean? What does sovereignty mean? What does discipline mean? You're turning this around on its ear, and you're reassessing what works for you. I think you were holding yourself to an old idea of what authority, what discipline, what structure meant, and you're letting those old ideas go, and it's working for you. You're building a new foundation. It's a solid foundation. It's a pyramid, right? And it's based on solid concepts, spirituality, tattvas. So I think that's wonderful, and I think it's certainly feeding this creative endeavor, and it's definitely feeding, letting go of these old concepts, I think is definitely feeding the fact that you're experiencing love the right way this time, the right way, letting go of old concepts of maybe what love means, what security means, what stability means, and you're deciding for yourself what that means. An autonomous kind of feeling, a self-authority. That's great, wonderful. So, okay, I don't think we really need any further clarification. You've decided to let go of old concepts and ideas, which has paid off. You're doing well financially in the wealth department, and your stuff and your things. You've built a solid foundation. As spirit and love and relationships are concerned, you're on the right track, absolutely. You're giving and receiving love in a natural flow. And because of this balance that you've achieved here by letting these old ideas go, you got new opportunities, new creative seeds to sow. So that's very exciting for you, Cancer. Wonderful. Okay. Well, that's really all that I had for you. If you, like I said, this is a general reading. So if you'd like something more specific to you, by all means, please email me at mimimemes@hotmail.com. That email address is in the description box below the video. Elsewise, I will see you for the full moon and new moon readings, and then next month for the zodiac messages. Okay, enjoy the rest of the month, or enjoy the month of April, and you take care.